What's this? What's this? What's this? What's this? What's this? Okay, maybe I'm just ready for Halloween. Maybe. Hey y'all, it's Ashley at Bookishrealm. Welcome. I am finally back. I have not uploaded a public video in probably like a month almost. And if you didn't get the memo, if you haven't been around and you didn't know, I moved. So I am currently in the new house and it is very different. This whole filming situation is extremely different. I'm actually standing up now, which I haven't stood up in a video in years. I've been sitting down on the floor, so this is going to take some adjusting. I have new shelves, which you can see. Don't worry, a bookshelf tour will be coming probably sometime next week. I know that I'm not going to have the capacity to get that out to you this week, but it will be coming next week. And that's super exciting because yes, I finally have been able to get my dream home library. It is a blessing. I am thankful. I worked very hard to be able to get these shelves. They are custom built shelves, which I do not recommend because of the price tag is attached to them, but they are super sturdy and they were built by professionals. So I feel very comfortable kind of like loading them with books. And so it's nice to actually see like my collection organized and behind me in a way that makes me feel happy. I hope you're all going to enjoy this new backdrop. I'm really truly like adjusting. My tripod hasn't been this high in a long time. The lighting is a little bit different. I'm not at the mercy of neighbors when it comes to filming, so I feel like I can be a lot more flexible with my filming. I can get a lot more done because, you know, my child's upstairs, I'm downstairs. I don't have to worry about excessive noise. It's a great situation and I'm happy to be in the situation. So what have I been doing? What have I been reading? What is new? What's about to happen with the channel? So essentially, I did not have the capacity to film content and keep content up and going while I was in the process of buying the house and moving in. Well, I was uploading content in the process of buying the house, but once I went through the process of closing and actually being, you know, in a position where I had to move here and unpack a little bit and meet with contractors and get things set up, I was exhausted. I was tired. I actually had taken like 2 weeks plus off of work to get stuff done. And so it's just been a whole lot. It's been a whole shebang, y'all. It's been a whole lot. So I am finally back. I'm going to let you know right now. I know y'all are used to seeing the recent reads videos. I know you're used to seeing my top and worst books of the month. I read 2 books in August, y'all, and that was a stretch for me. I finished 2 books in August. I didn't really have any really desire to read because I had so much going on. So we're just gonna like not really talk about August at all. Like we're just gonna forget August because August is just August. It is what it is. And so I just have had to readjust and get my reading back in order. So I'm gonna tell you what I am currently reading because I have had the opportunity to get back into my reading mojo. Shout out to Bree. Y'all know typically I struggle with the long sprints, the hour-long sprints, but it was one day we did it and I felt like I got so much accomplished, and so I got back into the mood of reading. So I have been able to finish 2 things so far this month, which you will see in more detail when we get to my recent reads, which I am in the middle of filming a recent reads. You should be proud of me for getting back into the the whole entire thing of doing my recent reads. So yes, so you hear about more of that in my recent reads. What I'm currently reading, I have a couple of things that I'm currently reading, and I am really enjoying what I'm currently reading. It could also just be like I'm getting back into the swing of reading, getting back into watching BookTube, and feeling like my life is just a little more balanced. Although I've had some not so great things happen in this big chunk of time here. My mother told me that things happen like that, where like when you make a big move, then things seem to go left, and not just like a big physical move like moving into a new place, but just when big events happen and you make big transitions, then everything just seems to go left for a little while. And so, you know, they always say things happen in threes. My 3 things have happened to me, and I'm kind of like ready to be leveled out and done with the whole situation. So let's jump into what I'm currently reading, and then we'll talk a little bit about what I have planned going forward for the channel for the rest of the month, and that'll be it. Okay, so the first thing that I am currently reading is The Davenports. This is a new YA historical fiction that comes out in January of next year. I was sent this by Penguin Teen, so thank you so much to Penguin Teen for sending me a copy of this book. This, from what the reviews like I have seen, a lot of people keep comparing this to Bridgerton, but at the end of the day, like y'all, it doesn't even take place in the same time period. It doesn't tackle 100%, not even 100%. Like maybe gender roles is one thing that they both kind of tackle, but I just wish people would stop comparing this to Bridgerton. People keep calling this the YA Bridgerton, and I don't like that. I don't like that at all. This book focuses on a family called the Davenports, and they run their own carriage company. We follow 4 different perspectives. 2 of the main characters are sisters, Helen and Olivia. So this also follows Amy Rose, and Amy Rose is kind of a childhood friend of the Davenports. Her mother was their servant, and she of course was with her mother at the time, so she's kind of taken over to work in the household, but she's grown up with them and she knows them very, very well. But of course, in terms of socioeconomic status, that changes and how their relationship can progress as they get older. It also follows Ruby, who is the best friend of Olivia. What I like about this book is that it looks at the wealth of Black people at the turn of the 20th century. The book takes place in 1910 in Chicago, and so we're getting to look at Black families that have wealth and what that means compared to their other counterparts, other Black counterparts that did not have the same socioeconomic status, the racism and discrimination that they still face even when they did have wealth, and kind of how they have to navigate society. And each main character is kind of battling their own issues. Olivia is coming into her awareness of the civil rights movement that is taking place. Not only does the civil rights take place in the 60s, because I think that's probably going to be something that someone says, but the fight for civil rights that takes place in the 1900s, and her lack of awareness of what the rest of the Black community goes through. You have Helen, who is battling gender roles. She wants to help run her father's carriage business, but also shifted to more of a car business, because at this time you see the Model T has come out, and so the use of like horse and carriage is kind of going out and being replaced by the Model T. Then you have Ruby, who is wealthy, but her family is falling into disarray. They're on the cusp of losing their wealth as her father tries to make his bid as the first Black mayor of Chicago. So Amy Rose is really battling with the idea of being Black and of a different socioeconomic status, and how that kind of deters her from having the same privileges and advantages as the Davenports, and wanting to be a part of their kind of society, but knowing that she could never be a part of it because she doesn't come from money. The only hiccup with this one, actually there's a huge hiccup. YA always has a tendency to include a lot of romance. And so when I originally started this, I was like, oh, this is gonna have a love triangle. I never really care for love triangles in YA books. I rarely have ever liked it. Rarely. There's a handful of books where I think it's done well. This one includes 4 women as protagonists and 4 men as love interests, and everybody has feelings for everybody. It is a hot mess. Somebody likes somebody who doesn't like them, who likes someone else. It is a mess, but because it's so messy, it's extremely intriguing. I am a little over 200 pages in this one, so almost 50% of the way through, and I'm excited to finish this and give y'all a review. The second thing that I'm currently reading is Chew. I'm doing a reread of the series because I want to go ahead and finish the series out. It is 11 volumes. This is a classic Image title. Chew focuses on Tony Chu, C-H-U, who is a cybopathic, meaning that he can taste food and tell you exactly where it's come from. If he eats a hamburger, he could tell you how the cow has been slaughtered, and like down to the nitty-gritty details of how the cow has been slaughtered. If he eats vegetables, he can tell you where it was grown, what pesticides were used. So the only thing that he can eat that doesn't give him that type of, you know, weird thing is beets. And we follow him in a setting of the US where chicken is now made illegal because of the bird flu, and he's working for the police department, and they come across this guy who apparently might be a serial killer. And so Tony confronts him and says, like, I know you've killed 13 people, tell me where their bodies are. And the guy decides to kill himself, and Tony eats his body to learn where the 13 bodies are. And of course that leads to complete and utter chaos. This is one of my favorite Image series. Like I said, it's 11 volumes. I want to finish it out because Tony's sister actually ends up getting a spinoff, and I am really excited to read the spinoff. But before I could read the spinoff, of course, I need to read the original series. The last thing that I'm reading is Agatha Raisin in the Quiche of Death. This is a cozy mystery series which I have been excited to try and start out. I've been following quite a few cozy mystery booktubers, which I absolutely love because they have the most amazing recommendations. I will link a few that I followed down in the description box below, but I am enjoying this. Agatha is an ass, and I appreciate that. She's snarky. She talks about slapping people. She's not very likable, but she's hilarious because she's not likable, and I am enjoying her completely. It is kind of what you expect when you think of cozy mystery. She moves to this town, they have this quiche competition, and Agatha's like, well, I'm gonna win the quiche competition, except Agatha doesn't make a quiche. She goes and she buys a quiche, and she enters the bought quiche into the competition. Unfortunately, someone ends up dying from eating the quiche, and she ends up being a suspect, and we are following the steps as she attempts to solve this mystery. It is what like I said, it's like what I expect out of a cozy mystery. It's just been a while since I've actually read a cozy mystery, but I am thoroughly enjoying this and cannot wait to dive into the second book. Now you're probably asking, well, what am I going to read for the rest of the month? Honestly, y'all, I am just going to take it slow. I have a couple of things that are on my radar, a couple of things that I want to pick up. I need to be picking something off of my shelf. So my focus is going to be reading a lot more of my collection. I have a bin of library books that I'm going to return because honestly, I don't need to hold on to these library books anymore. I need to be reading from my own collection. I have been sorting through, I unhauled a lot of stuff, and I really learned that I love my library. I love my library. But I've got to find a balance between reading from my library and reading from my own shelf. So all of these books I have gone through. I checked my entire collection for condition. I unhauled anything that I thought I was not going to read in the near future. I unhauled stuff that I thought maybe I would just rather pick it up from the library. And this is stuff that I've accumulated over years and years and years. Stuff that had been sent to me, especially from like publishers that I did not request. I gave away a lot of that stuff just because I knew that I was probably not ever going to read those materials. So for the rest of September, I am going to be focusing on picking things off of my shelf. As you can see, there's 2 things already that are off my shelf that I'm in the middle of currently reading, and I want to keep up that energy. In terms of content, we are going to go back to our regular scheduled program, y'all. Content every 2 to 3 days. Like, we're going to get back into the swing of things because I definitely am excited and amped up to be back doing this now that I just feel like I'm in a better place. Like, y'all, Y'all just don't understand how good it feels to no longer be in the place where I was living. If you're a close friend of mine, a lot of my patrons know, like, it was not a good environment. It was not a fun environment at all times. It was very stressful for me to even make content. It was stressful for me to be a part of live shows. It was just uncomfortable. I didn't realize how disturbed like my spirit was until I got here, and I feel a lot more calm. I feel a lot more laid back and relaxed, and I feel a lot more energy and motivation to get things done. So I have a couple of reading vlogs that I don't know if I'm going to necessarily get them done this month, but I know in the future there are particular reading vlogs that I want to get done. One that I will spoil for you, I'm not going to spoil all of them. One that I want to spoil for you that I'm interested in doing is focusing on YA titles from the past, meaning that reading from different years and different decades. So reading YA titles from the 90s, from the 80s, from 2000, 2001, 2002, like, it's a series that I want to do, one that I'm really excited about doing. I have already selected a time period, not going to tell you what period that is, but I've already selected a time period and I've already selected titles, and so I'm excited to dive into that and really just really get back into the swing of filming and things. So in the comments below, let me know, 1, what you're currently reading. 2, is there any content that I haven't done that you would love to see me do? And also let me know what your favorite book was of August. I wish I could tell y'all, like, it feels so awkward standing here and being like, I don't really have any favorites or not favorites of August, because at the end of the day, I didn't really read anything, but it is what it is. It was a big transition in my life. And so I just want to say also, I thank you all so much, because so many of you, when I say so many of you, I mean so many of you have been supportive of me the entire way. Particularly, I have to shout out people who are part of my Patreon. Like, my patrons have literally guided me through a lot of this process, because it was not an easy process, and they were very kind, gave me a lot of strength and encouragement, and I just love the outpour of support that I got when I announced that I had closed on the house and everything was settled in. And so I just want to say thank you so much. I know that I don't know every single one of you in person. I don't really get to talk to you all the time, but I just want you to know that it meant the world to me. It still means the world to me to be a part of this community. And I know sometimes I get frustrated. I'm like, sometimes booktube community frustrates me, but I know that, like, y'all as viewers, y'all that are a part of this community that we've built over the years, like, you've seen me transition and grow so much as a woman. And so to bring y'all along to this point, which is such a major accomplishment for me, and for y'all to see how far I've come, like, I really appreciate it. It means so much. Anyway, I'm not gonna hold you. As the preacher says in church, I'm not gonna hold you. I'm not gonna hold you. I'm not gonna hold you. As always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content from me, click the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications. If you're interested in supporting the channel, all the links are down in the description box below, and I promise you I will be back with another video soon.